Hey, good morning. Good to be back with you. You know, I never get tired of reading or studying about people, leaders who have these strong, resilient mindsets. It's just the idea that they really cultivate hope and they lead others through these great obstacles and adversities. You know, you read it in biographies or a lot of these great stories and inspiring stories that people that are able to maintain that strong, resilient mindset. I was reminded of this past week talking to a gentleman who had a restaurant and he lost that restaurant in this coronavirus shutdown. And I said to him, you know, you've lost everything. And yet, as we're sitting here talking, I really am struck by this hopeful attitude that you have, this strong, resilient mindset. And you know, how do you do that? He said, well, number one, he said, I haven't lost everything. He said, I still have a beautiful family. He said, my daughters, my son, my wife, you know, they're there for me. He said, I've got good friends. And he said, you know, and I think in a lot of that, it's just allowed me to really have hope and to be able to look at some other business opportunities. And so, you know, having a resilient mindset does not just happen. And I think there's an example of it right there. It's actually cultivating the hope and being mindful of it and having gratitude even in the face of the great obstacles that he's facing. My wife and I walk almost every night in a park. We walk our dog JJ and we like to take him out, let him run. And as we're walking, we get to experience so many sunsets and just the difference in the sky, you know, almost every night as a result of the sun setting, and sometimes it's through clouds, sometimes it's not, just the bright colors that we see. And invariably, I noticed that as we continue to walk, 20 minutes later, we're still talking about that sunset, or we're talking about some things that we want to do, you know, just positive thoughts. And I think when you're cultivating that hope, and that's exactly what we're doing, I think when we're taking that walk, sometimes it just happens unconsciously. You know, I notice that it just seems to broaden our perspective. We start to talk about travels. We start to talk about the things that we still want to do with our lives, or we just talk about the good things that have happened to us in the course of the day. And I think that's joy. I think that's, I'll call it even some serenity as we walk there. Those are the things that when we practice those things in life, I think those are the things that are the tiny engines that lead to a strong, resilient mindset and being hopeful. I'll leave you with those thoughts today. Hey, I hope you've had a great week. This is Pete Kunk, Built to Lead.